Okay, so that's pretty much our house rules, not too difficult to follow, right? Okay, now let's go back to our objectives. So we have to identify sources. Yeah, sources of heat. By sources, we mean where does heat come from? Okay, so here are some examples, right? You would have learned that in your lectures already in the videos, but I'm just going to just do a quick recap, yeah? So what is our main source of heat? Anybody? Kaden? Okay, I see you typing. You can also unmute yourself once you're being called. Yes, very good. Well done. The sun. Okay, the sun is actually our main source of heat. Okay, the sun. Yeah. Of course, we also have other sources of heat, right? Like, for example, a burning candle, firewood, and all these things, right? Okay, so state the temperature of an object as a measurement of hotness. Now, you do need to understand temperature is not equals to heat. Okay, temperature, like in this statement here, temperature is a measurement of the degree of hotness. Degree of hotness. So for example, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, all these are temperature. All right, degrees Celsius, degrees Kelvin, degrees Fahrenheit. All these are measurement of the hotness. So that's temperature. But what about heat? Heat is actually a form of energy. So temperature is a measurement, but heat is an energy. Okay, so you must be able to differentiate between heat and temperature first. Yeah? Okay. So far, okay? Not lost? Yeah, great, wonderful. Okay, so like I said, so the second and third basically will make up your point number 4. You must be able to differentiate. Okay, and lastly, what we're going to cover today, because we have other parts of heat to cover over the span of next 2-3 weeks. So therefore, today these are the things that we're going to cover only. Okay, and the last one, sorry, press stop sharing. Okay, now the last one that we're going to cover today is to show an understanding that heat flows from a hotter region to a colder region. It's always the case, okay? So sometimes we say hotter region, sometimes we say hotter items or whichever. That is, okay, let me see. Okay, so whichever terms that you use, it's fine, it's interchangeable. So heat always flows from hotter to colder, always. Okay, terms that you can use would be hotter object, hotter region, hotter place, until they both reach the same temperature. Okay, so this is the concept of heat. Basically, heat always flows from the hotter region to the colder region until they both reach the same temperature. It means they reach equilibrium. Okay, so these are the main objectives that we're going to cover today, and you will see that in the questions that we're going to cover later. Okay, so just we were talking about learning objective number 1. Okay, learning objective number 1, LO1, is to identify sources of heat. Okay, someone type in the chat. Let me see, who is that? Why not colder to hotter? Yeah, okay. So it's always the case whereby heat will never, we don't say that something gains coldness. We always say something gains heat. Okay, it's because of the way heat energy actually flows. Okay, so that's why it's always from a hotter region to a colder region. Yeah, it's because of the way that energy flows. Okay, so in writing, when you're doing your exam questions, you don't say, oh, it lost coldness. It's always gain heat or lose heat. We don't say gain coldness or lost coldness. Okay. So learning objective 1, we were supposed to know or identify some sources. So of course, your natural sources are your geysers, your volcano, and your sun. Natural sources of heat. Do you have any idea what's a geyser? No? Okay, let me show you. Let me show you. Okay. There you are. Okay. A geyser is a rare kind of hot spring that's under pressure and erupts, sending jets of water and steam into the air. Okay. Yeah. So basically deep within the earth actually has this tube-like hole that runs deep into the crust. And of course, it's really hot. So this is a source of heat. It's a natural source of heat. Why is it natural? Because it comes from the nature. So it's a natural source of heat. Okay. So that's natural source of heat. Okay, then of course we have our next group of sources of heat, which is your burning fuel. Okay, it has to be burning, then it has heat. Yeah. If it's not burning, it does not have heat. If it's not burning, it actually is another source of energy, which is called our chemical potential energy. So only when these fuels are burning, okay, like your coal, your petrol, and your firewood, when they are burning, that's when they have heat energy. Okay, when they're not burning, they're just kept somewhere. They have chemical potential energy. So it's different. Yeah. Okay, now next thing, of course, is electrical appliances, right? Our electrical appliances, some of them gives us very useful heat energy. Things like iron. We want iron to be hot. Then we can iron our clothes straight, right? We want hair dryer, because the hair dryer must produce some heat so that we can dry our hair. Okay. And of course, oven, especially when it comes to cooking, right? You will want your food to be hot. So therefore, oven is also a source of heat. Okay, of course, there are more than these. These are just examples. Yeah. Okay, someone type something. Let me see. Yes, Kaden, you're right. It's a hole where hot blast of water erupt. Is fire a natural or artificial light source? Okay, depends, because fire can come from different sources. If we burn fire from firewood, then it's a natural source. If we burn fire from like matchstick, it's considered a natural source still, because matchsticks are from trees, right? But if we get fire from, let's say, okay, mostly gasoline, petrol, all these chemicals, right? Then it's artificial. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, the last source that we can actually get heat is actually just us. We can rub one object against another. We can rub our hands together, and then you start to feel that your palm is warm, right? So friction. And also I think Kaden is trying to like blow air into his hands, and you can feel heat as well. Actually, it makes sense. We have heat as compared to the surrounding, because what is the temperature of our surrounding? What is room temperature? What is the temperature of the room? Okay, if you're in an aircon room, then maybe it's about 21, 22, 23. If you're outside, Singapore's weather is about 32, 33, right? But our human body temperature is 37.6. Okay, our human body temperature is 37. So if you compare your human body temperature with the temperature outside, actually we are warmer. And remember I said heat always travels from a hotter region to a colder region. Okay, so basically we will feel you know, when we like what Kaden was doing just now. Kaden was blowing air into his hands, then you will start to feel that your palm are warm. Okay, because your body is of a higher temperature than the surrounding. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move on. So those are the sources of heat. Okay. Next one, we will look at some useful uses, but actually this one, we will not cover that much today. We're going to cover more in detail in the upcoming lessons, okay? So this one is just extra information for now. At home, right? You use heat from the sun to dry your clothes. You use it to preserve food, okay? Then, of course, you also use heat from electricity like your iron, your water heater, your oven. You use heat from burning fuels like, to cook your food and to boil water, right? The cooking gas. When you turn on the stove, straight away there's cooking gas coming up. And then there's the flame. Okay, there's a flame because there's an igniter there to ignite the flame. Right? So that's how you get heat at home. Of course, in industries like factories and different industries, they will heat burning coal to generate electricity. That's one. They can also use heat to make and process food, glass, paper, and textiles. They can also use heat to melt, to shape out, and to harden metals. Okay, so these are just the basic use. I think we don't have to focus so much on that for now. Okay, let's just focus on our other learning objectives, okay? So one of the learning objective, remember objective number 2, objective number 3 is what is temperature, what is heat, and then objective number 4 is to differentiate between heat and temperature, right? So that means we need to know what is the difference between heat and temperature. So heat is I think it's this one that's a spelling error. It's a form of energy. Okay, it's a form of energy. Oh, sorry, this one. Oh. Okay. Heat is a form of energy. Okay, makes things hot. Temperature is a measurement of the degree of hotness. Okay, so that's the difference. Heat is a form of energy, temperature is not. Temperature is a measurement, heat is not. Okay, now, of course, the higher the temperature, the hotter the object. And we use a thermometer to measure. Okay, 2 types of thermometer very quickly. Have you seen a clinical thermometer before? I'm sure you do. This is the one on the right side is a clinical thermometer. From the word, it suggests it's a thermometer used in the clinic. Okay, but nowadays they also use the special kind of thermometer, those infrared thermometer, right? That TT, yeah, correct, like what Kaden is doing now. TT. Okay, laboratory thermometer are quite different. Okay, maybe I'll just show you how laboratory thermometer looks like, huh? Have you seen laboratory thermometer before? Okay, they are very long and narrow. Oops, where is it? Here. Okay, so they are long and narrow, and usually they can measure up to about 120 degrees. So very thin and narrow. And usually we put it inside like test tubes or beakers to measure the temperature of the chemicals and all. So it's used in a science laboratory. Okay, so this is how a laboratory thermometer looks like. So of course, the clinical thermometer measures the temperature of the body. The laboratory thermometer measures temperature of objects and substance during science experiments. Okay, in time to come, you will surely get your chance to use the laboratory thermometer, especially when you're in secondary school. Okay, but for now, I think I don't think you need to use laboratory thermometer, right? Hayden's question is, isn't mercury dangerous? Yes. Some people get mercury poisoning from eating seafood that contains mercury levels. Okay, it is poisonous, but